Hi, and welcome to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. It is Tuesday, the 31st of December. Happy Halloween to everybody out there. And happy Halloween to my cohorts here, Mr. Jesse Schule and Mr. Sean Higgs, all three of us of gamblersworld.net. I'm Ross Benjamin, by the way. And we're going to be talking some college football today. How was your weekend, Sean? I know you've been killing it over the last 30 days or so.
Yeah, good weekend. I wrapped up with a Monday night winner. So 6-3 NFL. I think 4-2 college football. 5-1 in the NBA. I was looking at the leaderboard there. I'm number 1 NBA, number 2 on the ice. I think, even though I'm just 3-3, but I'm a plus dollar kind of guy. I like the plus money. Number 2 NFL, and I think number 1 in college football money. So
good.
Again,
very good.
That's the money. Because more games, so my percentage isn't the best percentage, but we're grinding it out, as I like to say.
And again, when you're dealing with a volume handicapper, if you use proper money management, perfect example. What have we been harping on right along when it comes to Sean? You'll make good money. Jesse, off a winning day yesterday, and that's a good thing.
I was due for a winning day, Ross. It's been a rough 7 to 10 days. I didn't like last week's college football card, so I only managed to have one game, and that was UTSA minus 18. And I don't know if you saw how that one finished, but if you missed the end of that game, you can catch it on Bad Beats. It's their feature game. They start off the show with that particular game. So that's how that worked.
That's like a 15-second. I do UTSA too. I like UTSA there too. So that's.
Yeah. They were about to punch in the game-sealing touchdown to go up by 28 as an 18-point favorite in the final 2 minutes. A fight broke out. They got 30 yards in penalties, missed a field goal, and then bad field position. The other team gets a garbage time touchdown. So terrible stuff.
Boy, that is a terrible beat. In any event, that's what happens when things are bad, folks. You know, if you're on a bad streak, those kind of games go against you. When you're on a good streak, like Sean, those games go for you. You know, it's just the nature of sports betting. And we always remember the ones we lose like that, but we never remember the ones we're fortunate enough to win like that. It's just the nature of the game. You know, it's
I say that a lot. People are like, oh, what's the worst loss? You never remember the you know, I mean, the losses, like the wins, it's like you expect every game to win. So the losses are like, you have to forget about them.
People ask me what was your best win, and that's hard to pick out too. I guess the most gratifying win was taking the Giants in the Super Bowl as a 14-point or 14.5-point underdog against the then undefeated New England Patriots, and not only covering the game but winning it outright. So, other than that, a winner's a winner, man. You know, I always say, Sean and Jesse, you've heard both of you have heard me say this on numerous occasions. You win a game 51-0 with a 3-point favorite. Nobody's chasing you down saying that's impressive. I know you only bet $400 on it, but we're going to pay you a dime. You know, it doesn't happen. And the same thing with, if you lose a game 51-0 and you're laying 17, nobody's chasing you down to say, hey, buddy, I know you put 400 on the game. But you know, that was horrible. You got to give us another 300. At the bottom line, a winner's a winner, a loser's a loser. Now in Jesse's case, what he just described with UTSA, anybody with an intelligent mindset would know he had the right side. It just was an unusual circumstance of events that allowed the other team to cover. So again, it doesn't make anybody feel any better, but as handicappers, yeah, you're pissed off when something like that happens. But by the same token, you also know that you did the proper work. And as Jesse likes to say, you put the evidence sheet up, you try to stack evidence upon evidence when you come up with a side or a total. And you did that process correctly, or as Jesse would say, process, like they say in Canada. So in any event, all right, guys, what do we see in the NFL? We're talking college football today, but briefly, the NFL over the weekend. Boy, oh boy, I'm watching the Minnesota game, guys. I mentioned this yesterday. and I'm seeing how impressive they look of late, and I'm really impressed with how their defense is played. And Kirk Cousins having another nice game, and I'm saying to myself, boy, this team, if they don't give Detroit a run for their money in the division, is a real possibility to get to the wild card. And then, lo and behold, Kirk Cousins on a non-contact play blows out his Achilles tendon. But that was sort of sad when you see stuff like that. But any event, what did you see on Sunday or through the course of the NFL week, even last night, Sean, that you comes to your mind?
Raiders are bad.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, Devontae Adams. Like, you wanted to get traded there, Devontae. You know, you wanted to leave Brett Favre, and then they traded your friend. So I don't know what to tell you. Kansas City, we've seen them kind of defensively. They're there. Offensively, they got some issues, right? We said this from day one. It's like, all right, you got Kelsey and Mahomes is great, but sometimes you can't be great. And even when you're very good, you lose. I mean, he threw an interception, whatever the case may be. But Denver looks like this is the team that you thought you'd get to start the season. What else we have big there? Dallas looked pretty good. Big game this week against the Eagles. Niners might have some problems now. Is Purdy coming into Mr. Irrelevant, or is a guy just playing with a concussion on a short week and maybe got his bell rung again?
Yeah,
Looked like he took another tough hit.
before the concussion, Sean. I mean, you can make a case he wasn't very good in the prior two losses either. You know, so
yeah, but you expect a little bit of a comeback down a little bit. I mean, he was so great. They're putting 30 a game, and the league's going to catch up a little bit. Tough spot though. You had Cincy off a bye week. They haven't played good at all. So kind of team
they played their best game of the year. In my opinion, they played their best game of the year on Sunday. I don't think I'd get much argument from even the most faithful of Cincinnati Bengals fans. I mean, they
have Cincinnati on Sunday as well.
I'm sorry.
I think we all had Cincinnati on Sunday.
Yeah.
I know.
No, I actually had San Francisco.
Did you really?
It's a top play, yeah. And
when it came down, you probably had you probably grabbed it when it went down to 3 or so.
Well, I grabbed it. When I got it, it was at 5, and then it went down to 4, and I said, "Oh boy." But I was on. My feeling was that this isn't a team that's going to lose 3 in a row, and especially how good they are at home. And I think that too much was being made of Brock Purdy's concussion, but I was wrong on all accounts. It happens, but we beat on our chest. I got to tip my
cap to the Jaguars a little bit. Good win there at Pitt. Pitt's, as bad as Pitt is, they do find ways to win and make teams look bad. But Jaguars, a nice little road win there. Hold off Pitt. I know there's a questionable.
They tried to lose that game. They tried. They were trying like hell. Now, let me rephrase that. I don't know, trying to lose a game, but they did everything in their power to keep Pittsburgh in that game. So, and boy, I had the under last night, and I feel very lucky because Detroit had over 500 yards of offense last night. Luckily, the Raiders couldn't move the ball. And also, Garoppolo
missed 3 field goals, a missed field goal, pick for 6.
two turnover, one turnover inside the 5-yard line. When Detroit was about to score, another turnover by the Raiders early on inside the red zone, and then he misses Adams there wide open for a touchdown near the end of the game. So, guy fortunate there, and I also cashed in last night with the Texas Rangers, who continue to win on the road in the postseason. Excuse me. 8 or 9-0 now, I think, in the on the road.
I've been wrong in every game there. I'm like, I kind of like the under here. It's an over. I like the over. It's an under. I like Arizona. It's Texas. I like Texas. It's Arizona.
I've come to one conclusion after watching them in San Francisco and now here with Texas. Bruce Bochy he's a Hall of Fame manager, man. That guy gets it done. He just makes the right moves at the right time. He's got a knack for pulling out pitchers at specific times. Pulling Scherzer early yesterday and riding it out with the bullpen was a brilliant move. Now we'll see how that works out going forward, though, because now you used your top 3 relievers basically. And I still, Jesse, don't understand why they continue to go at Aroldis Chapman as a setup guy. I mean, if you got Texas and he comes in the game, your heart's in your mouth.
And the injury to Aroldis or Adonis Garcia, sorry,
Garcia
could be a series shifter. Momentum could shift if he's not available for tonight's game and moving forward.
Yeah, taking a big bat out of the lineup. It looked like a rib cage injury kind of thing, or a muscle. And
Oblique.
that's not, oblique. Is that what they call it? And bottom line is that's not a kind of injury you want if you're a power hitter, because that you're in pain every time you swing the bat, let alone when you're trying to generate bat speed. So again, some thoughts there. College football. I don't know. Anything of note, guys?
No, not college per se, but how about a college quarterback making his NFL debut and lighting it up? Will Levis. I guess we all saw that coming.
Yeah.
Sean, you raise your hand if you saw that coming.
Listen, I talked about. I'm like, what does this guy do in Kentucky? He's again. I will say I was wrong about Richardson going to the Colts. I'm like, this guy was terrible in Florida. Couldn't win games. Yet he came in, was exciting, and made some plays. And Levis again. Yeah. What did you do for Kentucky? Yeah. And yet he comes in.
Does that make
at this point you got to wonder about the coaching staff at Kentucky? What's happening now with Devin Leary this season? What happened with Will Levis? And then NFL scouts are saying this guy's a bona fide NFL
first
starter.
Round, he might be a first round.
I didn't see. I mean, we discussed that, and all three of us agreed. I don't know what the scouts are seeing in this kid from what we saw at Kentucky.
But you know what, though? That comes down to it also, Russ. Like, we don't see, like, the practices and, like, the kind of – not the intangibles, but all that other stuff. We see a game where he's 11 of 23 or some nonsense where he looks terrible, and you're like, who the heck is this guy? Like, what are you talking about? The guy's good. We don't get all the other kind of stuff where he's in practice and the coach
look at Josh Allen when he was at Wyoming. His last year, he only completed – 52% of his passes, and everybody crucified Brandon Bean for moving up in a draft to number 7 to get him. And right now he leads the NFL in pass completions percentage, if I'm not mistaken.
I said about the NFL quarterbacks, you're rolling the dice. I mean, who saw Mahomes turn into what he has? Nobody did. That's why he went to, you don't know.
He put up monster numbers. He really did put up monster numbers at Texas Tech under Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, but what is that? I mean,
the problem with Texas Tech is Texas Tech quarterbacks, and I think it started from the time that Mike Leach was there, is everybody labeled them as system quarterbacks, and every time one of them got a shot in the NFL, they failed miserably up until the Mahomes.
Same goes for Washington State quarterbacks, namely a guy named Jeff Toole that you're probably familiar with, Ross, as he made it his debut with Buffalo.
Yep, Jeff Toole. Yep. And you go back also, who did I'm trying to think of that guy who got drafted number 1 overall by the then San Diego Chargers.
Ryan Leaf.
Ryan Leaf. He was
He
was a Washington State guy, right?
I believe so. He was either Washington State or Washington, but
no, it was Washington State. I'm almost positive. One guy.
It might have been before Mike Leach's time there, though. I think
that's definitely before Mike Leach's time. That was freaking
99.
Yeah, Drew. There was a guy named Mike Price was the head coach then. Drew Bledsoe was a pretty good Washington State quarterback that did okay in the NFL as well. All right, let's get to the games in hand because people are probably chomping at the bit. I'm going to be looking at Kansas State and Texas. And Sean will be looking at Washington and USC. And Jesse, UCLA, and the now surging Arizona Wildcats, who I had last week on my Wise Guy top play. By the way, my Wise Guy contest, Mark Lawrence's Wise Guy contest, number 2 out of 47 guys right now. So we still got a long way to go, though. 10 weeks to go in the competition. So anyway, let's start with Sean. Washington and USC. The Huskies -3.5. The total 76, and rightfully so. I don't know what's up with Washington, but we were talking about this yesterday with Doug Upstone, and I'm starting to worry a little bit because Washington likes to play that high tempo offense. And at the beginning of the year, or I should say through the first half of the season, they were scoring at will. They were putting a lot of points on the board, and it was a non-factor in terms of their defense not getting a lot of rest. Now, over the last few weeks, they're not putting up as gaudy a numbers offensively, and their defense still continues to be on the field a lot because of the style of play. Sean, so bottom line is, I'm interested to hear your take on this in the Washington USC game. The game will be played at the LA Coliseum, by the way.
Speaking of like programs, we're talking about quarterbacks who put up a bunch of gaudy college numbers. So how about this USC quarterbacks over there over the past 20 years here? Sanchez and Palmer was pretty good in the NFL. Anyway, so we got you could kind of say they both kind of limp in, right? I mean, you mentioned Washington's defense not being there, and USC's. Listen, these guys should have lost to Cal. But you take after that Notre Dame game, you'd probably think they'd be favored in this spot. Yet they're a dog here. And is this kind of like the Oregon laying the 6.5 to Utah? Like you got to lean to the homers here. I like Washington, and it was 3. It's up to 3.5. Yeah, their defense. I look at it as they beat Oregon at 36-33-1, and they probably thought, you know what? We're cruising. We're the best team here, and the last couple games, okay, 15-7 Arizona State. You knew that was going to be a flat spot. Were you expecting a 15-7? I'm sure nobody expected 15-7. You're thinking 28-14, but it was a bad game. But I'll throw them a pass. Even last game, they were up 21-7, and then it started going back and forth. Again, I think they get fancy, and Penix, the play calling goes to, well, we could just beat these guys, whatever. And again, you're in a spot, you have USC on deck. So you're off Oregon, flat spot, and now you got another game on top of that, bigger opponent. I could give these guys kind of a pass. I can't do that with USC because the defense, let's see, 49, 34, 48, 41, 41. Yeah, the total 75 for a reason because you're going to give up 40-something points here. They can't make a stop. At least I saw Washington make a couple stops against Oregon when they had to win a game. So I'm going to give them, I think they're the better team. Sorry, USC. Lincoln Riley's okay. Your offense is fine. You've never had a defense. I mean, let's talk about some Oklahoma quarterbacks put up numbers. So yeah, I'll take the Huskies here. Penix Williams, and I said this after the loss for USC. There goes the Heisman. There goes the Pac-12. There goes the playoffs. Where's the heart? And then you almost lose to Cal. 50. Yeah. You're trailing Cal.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, Sean, and I'm interested to hear your opinion on this, and Jesse could chime in as well, of course. Caleb Williams, I think we've seen him make mistakes he hasn't made throughout his college career over the last couple of weeks. And I just think because of their defense being so bad that this kid has the onus of responsibility on his shoulders, almost like he knows he has to score every drive to win the game, especially when he's facing a formidable opponent. And he's forcing a lot of the action over the last couple of weeks, and he doesn't need to. He's a tremendous quarterback, and I think he's going to excel well at the NFL level. Any thoughts there?
I'm not a big fan of Caleb Williams myself, but as bad as USC's defense is, and Sean's right, I mean, Washington should light them up, but USC has shown signs that they can hang. They're going to get their points against Washington too. I mean, the total is 76, so it's not like there's no easy money being made betting the over. But 3.5 seems like a good chunk for a home dog in a game that's going to be decided potentially on the last score wins type of thing, which has sort of been what we've seen with USC games recently. Win or lose, it seems to go right down to the wire and last score wins. And playing on their home field with that offense, could I see them hanging with Washington and this game being decided in the end by 3 points? Absolutely, I could.
Yeah, I mean, why don't you like Caleb? I'm just curious. Why don't you like Caleb Williams? I'm just curious. Excuse me, Sean.
What we touched on was system quarterbacks. Lincoln Riley, Sean said it. Lincoln Riley's had a history of getting these quarterbacks. They put up gaudy numbers.
Baker Mayfield,
don't.
Jalen Hurts they're both starters in the NFL right now.
But a lot of people don't like. They're not. I guess Jalen Hurts is doing pretty well.
Yeah,
But
Baker Mayfield is not a top quarterback in the league, but there's only 32 NFL quarterbacks.
I mean, I'm a Baker fan.
Yeah, I like Baker.
A lot of people don't like Baker though. One thing I don't like about Caleb Williams is the idea that he's going to tell teams that he's not going to play for them. I don't really like. I think it's an honor to be drafted by a professional franchise, especially with the to be drafted number 1 overall and say, I'm not going to play for you guys. I don't like that kind of attitude. So that's a knock against him for me.
Yeah, the last guy who did that was a guy named Peyton Manning, and he turned out to be okay. So I'm not saying that's going to be.
Was that Peyton or Eli? I thought it was
but
Eli.
It is. I agree with
Eli.
you, Jesse, in terms of, was it Eli? Yeah,
Eli. It was Eli. Eli, because then they traded,
Right, because San Diego at the time wanted to draft him, and he said he didn't want to go there. You're right. It wasn't Peyton. But in any event, that kind of mindset is a little annoying. There's no two ways about it, Jesse. I agree with you there.
Eli Manning was as an NFL quarterback.
Yeah. All right. So Sean likes Washington -3.5 at USC. Jesse, your turn. Real good battle here. UCLA and Arizona. UCLA a 2.5-point favorite on the road against a surging Arizona Wildcats team. The total in this game is 52. Take it away, my friend.
Well, Ross, I hope you're ready to start stacking some evidence because UCLA comes in as a road favorite here. They're the ranked team. Arizona is unranked. But as I start stacking evidence, I am failing to see why UCLA is the better team here. Yeah, they've got one more win than Arizona, and they did that with their non-conference schedule, going 3-0 outside of the Pac-12. A win over NC Central isn't that impressive. Whereas Arizona's non-conference schedule had a road game at an SEC team, losing to Mississippi State. Mississippi State's not having a great year, but still traveling to play an SEC team is significantly.
That game was at Arizona, Jesse. That game
was
at Arizona.
Okay.
Yes. And Arizona outgained them by almost 200 yards in that game, and they killed themselves with turnovers. Go ahead.
And it was like a 1-point loss or something. It was quite close.
That was an overtime game. That was overtime.
Yeah.
Jaden DeLora was the quarterback for that game, and Jaden DeLora is a good quarterback in the Pac-12, but his replacement, Noah Fafita, is a great quarterback in the Pac-12. 1,221 yards, 11 touchdowns, 3 picks, completing 76% of his passes so far. Arizona has been a much better team since Fafita took over for the injured Jaden DeLora. And Chip Kelly hasn't named a quarterback for this game yet. They've been bouncing around with Ethan Garbers and freshman Dante Moore. And the old expression goes, if you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any. And getting points at home with what I consider to be potentially the better team, I got to take the points here.
All right. So Jesse likes Arizona +2.5 at home against UCLA. Yeah, they actually brought in a third quarterback for one play, and he threw an interception in that play and didn't see the field again. But if you look at UCLA, their defense is terrific. And their offense is pretty good. I mean, it's not elite, but the bottom line is the freshman who's been starting right along up until last week has killed them with turnovers. I think he's thrown like 3 pick sixes this year. So if they could eliminate that and get some production, I mean, otherwise their production on offense is good enough to win on most occasions with that defense. So, but in any event, I like Arizona here too. I just think I like the way this team has come on. Like Jesse alluded to in that Mississippi State game, that was a game they should have won. They outgained Mississippi State by a ton of yards. And I think they had 5 turnovers in that game or something around there. And also they lose at USC in triple overtime, 44-42. So this is a much better than a 5-3 team in Arizona. I agree. Before we get to my game, which will be Kansas State and Texas, don't forget, folks, all three of us will be back on Friday afternoon. We'll be back tomorrow morning, too. But don't forget about our live show Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Myself, Jesse, and Sean taking all your questions and looking at your comments and giving you replies. And I know a lot of you like to chime in on these archives. Now you got the opportunity to chime in and also get immediate answers, because we get to just about every question and comment we can, as long as it's respectful and relevant and in time permitting. So again, Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time going forward, folks. Also, don't forget, it's the last day of the Spooktacular special, where you get $13.13 off any 3-day package from any handicapper. Normal pricing $99, comes to 85. What does it come to? $85.87, I believe, if my math is correct. So don't forget that as well. And if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, take a second to do so, please. You're watching because you like sports betting. You've been watching because you like the show. You like what we have to offer. Doesn't cost you a thing to subscribe, folks. It's absolutely free. There's no hidden agenda. So you just have to hit that WC logo in the bottom right-hand corner of your video box if you're watching on your PC. Black subscribe button if you're watching on your smart TV or your mobile device. And then take a couple extra seconds. And if you are subscribed and you haven't done this, I would highly suggest you do so. Go into your YouTube settings, click that alert notification bell for the Winner Circle Sports Betting channel, and you'll be notified immediately upon us publishing any of our podcasts here on our great channel. All right, let's get to my game, and that's Kansas State and Texas, and I'm really looking forward to this one. Kansas State, I cashed with them last week. Texas 7-1, Kansas State 6-2. Both teams have shown a lot of offense this year. I mean, Texas has scored 30 points or more in all 8 games this year. And that's the first time they've ever done that in school history. So that's something to note. I know Quinn Ewers is out, their starting quarterback, but Malik Murphy played in the last game against BYU, a 35-6 win. He completed 16 out of 25 for 64% completion rate, 170 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Big kid, 6'5", 238. So like in a lot of these elite programs, they are deep at the quarterback position. Now, of course, I'm not saying he's equal to Quinn Ewers, but I think that with Texas's running game and a little play action pass, that they're going to be able to score here. And Kansas State, by the way, not a lot of people realize, 38 points or more in 6 of 8 games this year. Their last 3 games, they've been red hot, by the way, over the last 3, and 40 points per game, 472 yards per contest. Now, if you look at Kansas State, their defensive numbers, it shows they allow just a shade under 16 points per game and a little over 343 yards per contest. But in their 3 road games, they haven't played as well defensively, and that's indicative of them allowing 26.7 points and 442 yards per game in those 3 contests. Kansas State's Will Howard, even though he's been under heavy scrutiny this year at times, being the veteran quarterback he is, he still completed just a shade under 64% of his passes, 14 TDs against 7 interceptions, 1,628 yards passing, and 313 yards rushing and running for another 6 scores. A lot of teams in the country would like to have Will Howard as their quarterback. The total here, 51, and I'm going to go over that total. I'm looking at a game being played in the low 30s or 31-27 type of contest, but I'm going to go Kansas State, Texas over 51. Sean, your thoughts?
Yeah, I was looking at this total because I kind of like K-State, because I think the number's a little short, and K-State's a feisty kind of dog kind of play. So I like them. But it gets the over. Why won't we get points here? K-State's going to play a wild. That's how they roll. I mean, look at their scores. Why wouldn't this game get over the total? 51. It does, and that looks a little low out. I mean, are we expecting Texas just to run it and play defense. Texas doesn't have a defense. Like there's an improved defense.
Well,
It's
they're allowing
not
10
against a good
points per
offense.
game. Yeah, right. They're allowing 10 points per game at home, but you said it. I mean,
Yeah,
who
but
have
against who they
played?
play though, you're playing
Yeah,
at home.
yeah.
It's okay. They gave come on, BYU. Clovis has been terrible on the road. Kansas at home. All right, good win there. We saw Oklahoma, good offense. They gave up points too. Baylor had a backup quarterback at the time. Wyoming on the road. Come on, they played
Yeah.
Bama and Oklahoma, and they allowed points. And they allowed points
Yeah.
to Houston. I mean, so K-State's not a run-of-the-mill program. I think K-State's a pretty good program.
Yeah, and by the way, in aligning with you liking Kansas State, you mentioned Houston. They beat Houston 2 weeks ago, I believe, 31-24. Barely got by as a heavy favorite, and then Kansas State just demolished Houston last week, 41.
That was also after the Oklahoma game, so they might have been.
Yeah,
there goes our season. So let's just kind of get through that one, but
yeah. Well, again, Jesse, your thoughts?
Don't really have strong opinions on the game, but you guys make a pretty solid case for the over. And I have certainly noticed the Kansas State's defense doesn't perform very well on the road. So I know they gave up a ton of points against Oklahoma State in that game. And I'm a little bit hesitant to be as big of a believer as you guys seem to be in Kansas State at this point in the year.
All right. So our picks are Arizona plus 2.5 from Jesse Schule over the UCLA Bruins. Sean Higgs likes the Washington Huskies on the road, minus 3.5 at USC. And yours truly, Ross Benjamin, likes Kansas State and Texas to go over the total of 51. All right, Sean, tell the folks what you got going on this week, what you foresee. And of course, you got some hot streaks that you already went through. And if there was something you didn't touch on or want to share with the audience, go right ahead.
All right. So college, we have a Thursday game already posted, and then I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 more college football for Saturday. Because I don't know, I'm doing pretty good in college football. And NFL, I have. What do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 NFL up for the weekend. 6-3 last week. So NBA, I did post to NBA. I am 5-1, but I'm going to hit it with a caveat. I should probably pull the thing down because it was on the Clippers today, and I put out last night, and then they have a big trade, and they trade away a bunch of guys, so the line has moved a little bit. So I mean, if you had purchased it, proceed with caution. I guess you post the day before. I'm not expecting NBA trades early like this.
Yeah, who makes a trade in early November anyway? Yeah, you're right, Sean.
So
anyway,
there's that.
Anything else you want to share?
Happy Halloween. Go get your free candy, you degenerates.
I shouldn't ask Sean twice, Jesse, if he wants to share anything else, because we all take a deep breath after he gets done talking, and to give him another opportunity. Never mind. I love Sean.
I need. You know what I need in the comment section today? I need gift ideas for my wife's 50th birthday. Give me ideas.
There you go.
Talking off the air, I was saying I don't want to say what I got it. Who knows? She'll watch the video or something. But I got her something, and the consensus was basically that's a bad gift. So
spa gift card, Sean. Spa gift card.
They can't go wrong
Again,
with that,
you
right?
can get Sean's picks at gamblersworld.net. It's there where we guarantee all single game and multi-game daily packages, as well as subscription plans of 30 days or fewer. If you don't win, you don't make a profit, we will credit you back the exact amount you paid on that particular package. So can't get any better than that. And most times than not, when you purchase from anybody at our site, which is, again, gamblersworld.net, us 3 and 7 other great handicappers, it's usually a moot point. But you have that personal safety net in case we happen to fail on that day. Jesse, tell the folks what you got going on, what might be coming up, or anything else you want to share about Jesse Schule over at gamblersworld.net.
All right. Well, we all know that the last 7 to 10 days have been a bit of a rough stretch for me. I did bounce back on Sunday and Monday, and this upcoming weekend for the football is going to be my revenge tour. But some sports that have remained steady all year long, CFL got great numbers with CFL this year and every year. NBA long history of being on the leaderboards with NBA, even though, as Sean mentioned, stuff like this happens early in the season, which is why both of us don't play that many games early in the season. I still try to get a couple out every week, if not, one every 2 days or something. Five games a week maybe with the NBA. Soccer, couple soccer games a week. I try to spread it around a little bit, and at the end of the day, hope it all comes back positive, and it usually does. It has been a bit of an off week, but don't expect that trend to continue.
What about your Canadian Football League?
I didn't. The playoffs start. Yeah, playoffs start this week, and yeah, I got great numbers with CFL, and I've got my eye on a total for the what do you call it? The divisional round, I guess. The only 6 teams make the playoffs in the CFL, which is kind of amusing maybe to Americans.
Anyway, there's not as many teams either, but the CFL, Jesse has owned over the last few years, or over his career, actually, one of the best CFL handicappers in the country, and as well as every other sport. We all hit our dry runs. Jesse's in the midst of one now, but I can guarantee you one thing, folks. Like I told you with Sean a couple of weeks ago, watch out, man. The storm is about to come, and it sure has. All right, I went. It was so 5-5 weekend, and then I bounced back yesterday with a 2-0, as I had the NFL game, the Lions and the Raiders game under 46. Also had the Texas Rangers minus 108 on the money line over Arizona yesterday. They win 3-1. Still rolling along here. Not as hot as I was for the prior 2 months, but still 79-46 in all sports in September 12th, 63%, 126-73 since August the 4th in all sports, good for 59%. NFL since week 2, 23-13, 64%. College football, although I've had a rough go of it of late, still 31-19 with my last 50 in college football. That goes back to September 15th to be exact. 62% if you go back to December 2nd of last year. 53-32 in college football, 62%. College football and the NFL combined since September the 14th, 51-29. 64%. Major League Baseball, 9-3, last 12 in the postseason, 53-30 since August the 4th. That's good for 64%, folks. And when I'm hitting 64% over the course of 83 plays in 3 months, you're making a ton of money, because I do not give out big money line favorites, and your ROI will be very good. All right, so you can find all 3 of us. You heard what we got going on over at gamblersworld.net, folks. You could invest in, a longer term package. Maybe if you want to test the waters, do a 3-day package. Buy it on a Friday, buy it on a Saturday, get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, where it correlates with college football and the NFL. We do have the NBA going on right now. These guys told you they started out sort of slow. I have not given out an NBA pick, but I'm coming off an NBA winning season. I always do not come right out of the gate firing in the NBA as well, and even less than these guys have so far. So you could get all of us a 3-day, 30-day package. A 30-day package goes for $3.99. 7-day package for $199. Or a 3-day package, $99. But today it expires, the Spooktacular special, where you get $13.13 off our 3-day package. So for Sean Higgs and Jesse Schule, and Jesse's going to tell, before we say goodbye, Jesse will tell us.
Don't forget, smash that like button.
He was winding up there to give you that big yell. And yes, folks, smash that like button, touch the like button, punch the like button, tap the like button. It doesn't matter. As long as you hit that like button, it's just a small token of your appreciation for the time, work, and effort we put into giving you quality podcasts and making you a smarter sports better today than you were yesterday. Take care and God bless, folks.